Comics Coast to Coast is brought to you by patrons like you. If you'd like to help the show out, head on over to patreon.com/comicsc2c and show us a little bit of your love. Your sweet, sweet love. I mean, like $1 worth of love. And we'll take that love and hug it and squeeze it and make it do podcast things that you'll enjoy. So come on, see what happens.
This is Comics Coast to Coast.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Dunaway, and you're listening to Comics Coast to Coast, episode 329, the Will Henry interview, part 2. Before we talk to Will again, let's bring back Joel Duggan of Starcrossed Online and Forge Publishing. Joel!
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty dang good. Pretty dang good for a Thursday night after soccer practice. I'll tell you that right now. So, it wasn't for me. I wasn't soccer practicing. You didn't ask that. It was for the kids, right? That's
well, that was going to be my question. I was like, is Brian a soccer player? Have I been podcasting with Brian for going on 5 years and not known that you were a soccer person?
I am a soccer person because my kids like to play soccer, and I am absolutely no good at helping. Or I'm not a good dad. Take your pick. All right. With us as well is Matthew Ducharme of Matt the Wad. Matt, how are you?
You know.
Were you?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
used to do soccer as a kid as well, and they always stuck me in the goalie position.
Oh.
And yeah, it's not much of a practice when you're goalie. For the most part, you're just standing there.
You're just standing there. Well, that was your experience. I'm sure other people have fond memories and great experiences with. No, they didn't. They didn't. I watched Bob's Burgers this past week. I know how it all rolls downhill. All right, so with us again is Mr. Will Henry of Wallace The Brave, who's got some great news for us, and is also has a last-second replacement, right? Will. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, man.
Saved our bacon because we had a little guest adjustment, and we had Moose people around, and our good friend Will here said he'd come on, and I couldn't believe it because I would think you would be super busy right now, and you maybe are. Maybe you're just all jacked up and you just got extra energy. But is that it?
No, man, I am all jacked up.
All jacked up because do I want to tell the audience what happened, or do you want to tell? You tell them what happened recently with Wallace the Brave.
You do have the better voice. You have the podcast.
All right. I'll give you the quick skinny. Wallace the Brave has reached printed syndication. Just like a couple of days ago?
Yeah, like a week and a half ago. I think it was the 26th of March.
26th of March, and you launched in over 100 papers, like around 110, 111, right?
Yeah, pretty wild.
That's
I
phenomenal.
didn't expect that,
That's phenomenal. Now you've been like online syndicated for a while there, right? Wasn't that kind of?
Yeah, it was with the on that Go Comics site that has all those wonderful comics. I was just part of that.
Which is a great thing to be a part of, but I mean, come on. Most of us growing up, the dream is to be syndicated and in the newspaper, right? Because that's how we consumed them growing up. That's where we want to see ourselves at.
I mean, that was my dream.
Right?
I imagine some people shared it too, and I don't know. It's kind of surreal to be part of it. To be honest with you,
I'm so jazzed for you, man. When I saw it, I was like, "This is great news. Could not happen to a better person or a better comic." Because I love the Wallace the Brave.
Well, that's nice of you to say. Thank you for that. Boosts my ego a little bit more.
That's right. You couldn't possibly need any more ego boosting. If anything, it might even knock you down some pegs.
I think you should. I'm sure my wife is like, I hope these guys rip Will apart.
Right.
Right.
But what did you say, Joe?
I guess the first question I could ask him is like, now that you're syndicated, I mean, has it changed you now that you're one of them?
Oh
Oh, you're throwing the lines, huh? Okay. I don't know, man. I hope not. To be honest with you, so I actually just had like my first child like 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, what?
I got a new baby in the house, and like it's been one hell of a whirlwind between like the baby and the launch, and just trying to like keep my head on my shoulders. So it's been a blur, to be honest with you.
Congratulations on 2 life-changing events. I am so excited for you and so happy. And now I really got to wonder about your sanity coming on the show this week with a new baby and a syndicated comic. Either you're insane or you're just you haven't slept in weeks and you're just not making good decisions.
You know what? I've got some sleep, but I'm sitting here in my buddy's basement, and he has Guinness on tap, and I was like, this is the perfect excuse to get out of the house and share a couple pints.
That is a good reason why. So congratulations on your child. So that's great. So you had a boy? Is that what I read?
A little baby boy, named him William, of course.
Right. This is your first child, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're in for it, buddy.
Well, you guys have kids?
Oh yeah, I have kids. Joel
Brian
doesn't.
does, yeah.
Joel
does not.
Joel does not. Matt.
So I noticed you didn't name your son.
Right.
Didn't name your son Wallace. I mean, missed opportunity.
Oh, that would be cruel to that poor kid. Having me as a dad is cruel enough.
Right. So that is interesting. So how is I know it's kind of jumping right into it, but how is this new baby going to affect my Wallace the Brave? I mean, I don't care how it affects your personal life. I want to know how it's going to affect my readership as a reader of Wallace the Brave.
Oh, God. Man, TBD. I have no idea. I mean, there used to be days I'd wake up and just, put my loafers on, have a cup of coffee, and then, eventually get to the drawing table. Now it's like I have 2 hours and I got to bang this crap out as fast as possible before that baby starts screaming again.
But that's great. It's gonna push you, and it's definitely gonna reveal what kind of person you really are. I mean, so yeah.
I hope so.
Oh, totally. And with the syndication, how much work, additional work, is it really? I mean, because you were already creating the comic. It's just now you've got the added pressure, I suppose, of making sure that you don't miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I hope I don't come close to missing deadline. I'm sure I will, but there are some like real like consequences now, which is kind of freaky because it's always been like, I'll have a couple readers get upset.
Right.
Now there are actual consequences for my actions.
So I want to explore that for just a second. I mean, you've been posting Wallace the Brave on Go Comics for a while. Is it of your own schedule? I thought being syndicated on Go Comics meant that you had a schedule that you had to stick to.
It's on your own schedule.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I thought it was the web version of being print syndicated.
No, I mean you can kind of post at your leisure, and I will say if you don't like keep a routine or post a certain amount a week, people they get upset and whatever. But it's kind of like there's a lot of freedom to it. It's nice.
Interesting. I didn't know that. And did you apply to go on to Go Comics, or did they approach you?
I think I sent my submission in, like anybody else would, and after we got like a development deal going, they, asked me to put some online because I think it helps with the, selling of the comic later on. It helps with the promotion or, getting feedback too, putting it out there in the world.
Okay, so Go Comics was part and parcel of the print syndication?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were just up on Go Comics first, and then the print syndication approached you.
No, it was actually the print syndication first, and then we had a little bit of development, and then they, when it was looking like a comic, you put it online.
Right. Okay. Well, which is smart because, of course, it primes everybody, and it probably helped you get towards those 100 papers.
Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind. You get a little bit of following and
smart
practice.
Yeah, it's funny how that process has changed. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about comics lately, and you get into the history of submitting comics and syndication and how like low the odds are, and it's cool to see that there's still like rather than just being a yes or no from a mail-in submission, there's a this has got potential. Let's put it in like an online incubator and see if we can't kind of form it into something better before we try and sell it to papers. It's smart.
Yeah, I think like the from my maybe antiquated understanding of what the syndication was is like you submitted, and then they like took it, and then you went in newspapers, and then you had the books, and then you had the extras. But I think nowadays it's almost reversed, where you're trying to build up an audience before you go and try to sell yourself to newspapers.
Well, and I think that would be to your advantage, as an artist too, because previously the syndication was the avenue to an audience. Now the internet is an avenue to an audience. Like, so you can have that. You can now arguably have more people reading your comic online than you could in a newspaper these days.
Oh yeah, that is not a stretch of the imagination by any means. I mean, you guys see it. I'm sure I see it. Like, you get these comic creators that have like millions of followers, and it's like it's the coolest thing. I can't imagine how many papers that would take to reach that amount of people.
Right.
And like responsive people too, not just subscriptions to the newspaper.
That's still. I mean, 100. I mean, if you, I don't even want to do the math, but 100 newspapers is a good bit, and then the readership beyond that. And of course, I guess it's based on which markets are in and distribution of that.
Yeah, sure.
But that's math, and I don't want to do math on this show.
Not right now, man. It's too late for that.
Not when you got Guinness on tap at your buddy's basement. By the way, Buddy's Basement has got to be the name of this episode. Will Henry in his buddy's basement. That's
the buddy's basement.
That is so
Escaping
fun.
His wife and kid.
And you said he does a little podcasting. Do you want to kind of pimp his podcast a little bit, or?
Oh, you want to hear? Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. It's sometimes I'm on it, but I've been a little bit busy lately.
Right.
But it's called the Chowda Hour.
No.
The AH, Chowda Hour.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Well, one of the guys on it owns a brewery, so that's always fun. He brings a lot of beer, and we talk beers, and
that is fun.
Very cool.
And
I have a segment called Billy's Bird Calls, where I do like a different bird call.
Right. Is there a website or URL I can go to kind of get on that? That's a good question. I put you on the spot.
Sad. I do not know.
I know where Google's at.
Rhody Agora, I think, has it on there. Rhody, like Rhode Island, RH.
Oh,
Rhody
cool.
Agora.
Right. All right, let me see. Let me look it up. I'll get that, Joel. You ask the next question while I look that up and put it in the.
You don't want to listen to it, trust me.
Oh, come on! Of course I do. Kicking up Will Henry.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, with syndication kind of pushing Wallace the Brave up into, a higher frequency, because you have to do this now daily with Sundays, right? Has it changed the way that you approach writing the strip at all?
You know what? It hasn't yet, because I have enough of a backlog to I think I've got about 2 years of material written, ready to go.
Oh wow!
I just gotta reformat it a little bit. Sundays I'm pretty far behind on. I got to catch up on the Sundays, but that's because I didn't have to do them for the Go Comics site. So I had them all written. I just haven't inked them.
Right.
I imagine the difference will be a little more panic, because it's only been a week and a half, and I've already thought to myself, Jesus, I've already gone through 15 comics. Jeez, I'm in trouble.
Right.
So every day the clock ticks. I mean, just think about how fast some weeks go by, and that's 7 comics, boom, done.
Right. And so that is an interesting question about the pacing, because you had one pacing, and are you taking over most of the storylines you were using before, or are you kind of tweaking them and adjusting things, or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. When I was writing the comic for the roughs to have my editors, take a look at and critique, a lot of them I would have, 1 week storylines or 2 week storylines or even month long storylines, and they just kind of sat in the back burner in roughs, because if you're posting comics 3 times a week, to do a month's worth storyline, it's going to take 3 months. So
right.
Yeah, I've got a lot of those saved away, ready to get out there.
Oh, that's fun. I'm excited. I tried to follow. I wish it was in my local paper. By the way, I will petition my local paper to carry Wallace the Brave.
Yeah, man.
I've done it before, and I will do it again. And if you're a listener, dear listener, trust me, if you haven't seen Wallace the Brave, you need to go see it and check it out. The best place to read it is probably going to be over at gocomics.com/Wallace-the-Brave. And check it out. And then people don't think about this anymore. They recommend it to your local paper for them to
give
pick
them
it
a
up.
call, shoot them an email. Say, hey.
Pick it up.
I want to see Wallace.
I want to see Wallace. It's like, but sir, you don't currently have subscription with us. I'm like, shut up. Just do it.
This guy's gonna buy diapers. God damn it.
That's right. This man had a baby. I don't even know how he did it, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So yeah, it's funny because I think I've seen, and I've been kind of watching. I've seen John Glenn. I follow his stuff on his blog post.
Oh sure.
Yeah, and so we've actually interviewed John Glenn way back when, like on episode 76 of Comics Coast to Coast. And that was like during the first really kind of dips we were seeing in newspapers and syndicated comics having to make their first adjustments, because it was bad for a while with how things were plummeting. And now it seems like the market's kind of stabilized a little bit over the last couple of years, and it looks like they're trying to take risk a little bit again, because for the longest time, if you open up your newspaper, legacy comics, reruns. And I can't help but to think that was because newspapers weren't sure what to really do, because I don't know if they thought, well, you don't want to lose the readership you have, which is the old comics.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to lose them, but how do you reach out to new markets if you don't have new material, stuff like Wallace the Brave? So I'm glad it feels like it's settled down a little bit. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I just got to say, like, do you find that, like, absolutely bizarre? Like,
yes.
Think of all the media that we intake, and, we're reading comics that were written by people, like, literally, like, 80, 90 years ago. Like,
yeah.
What other media outlet puts that antiquated stuff out? It blows my mind. It's, like, the most frustrating thing you can deal with.
Yeah.
Like, I just think as a consumer, I don't know, I'm not 80 or I'm not,
yet
who these newspapers are going after yet. But it's like, I got to imagine, like, eventually I'm going to be like, all right, give me some new stuff for the love of God. Like, I'm sick of seeing Blondie and, like,
right.
Dagwood eat that GD sandwich. I'm just like, it just frustrates the hell out of me. Because, I mean, you guys see it. There's so much, talent out there. And, they can't get their spot because we got to see the family circus tiptoe around the kitchen again and, like, look at the ghost and just bore the hell out of all of us. I hate to say it, man.
It's true. Hey, look, I love those legacy strips as much as anybody. I have such a fond memory, but I'm like you, though. I think I actually read a Twitter post you posted not long ago, and you said, what would TV be like if it was nothing but old reruns?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if Leave It to Beaver was running as if it was current, like,
right.
We're going to run this because this is what we think people want, like,
yeah,
no one would watch it.
Why you watch it,
right? I think not to say that the legacy comics weren't good, or at least weren't good for their time.
Agreed.
I agree with you, Will. Like, there was a time and place for it. It's the same reason why some really old Disney cartoons and some really old Bugs Bunny cartoons are not on the air all the time anymore, and it's because they were good, but they don't speak to today's audience. And I think that there are a few strips out there that have kind of changed with the times. I think my favorite example would probably be something like Foxtrot, where, like, they're using tech, like iFruit and all that kind of stuff. And as that has changed over the years, you see the kids in the strip and the parents start to deal with all that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff you see. Another really good one is Zits, same idea.
So
like it's modern. It's got a classic feel, but it's got modern sensibilities and subject matters and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, even like Dick Tracy had a pretty good revival there too. Like, they got some new artists on that thing, and it was rocking.
Yeah.
But to let things sit because they're nostalgic. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but even nowadays with all the like the remakes and stuff, I mean, they were cool like a couple years ago, but I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, all right, I've seen this all before.
Yeah, and it gets to the point too where you're just like, can you guys think of nothing original? And then you go and see an original film. Like I've been going out of my way lately to go and see original content, whether it's on Netflix or at the theater or whatever.
Yep.
And here's the issue with original content is people get through Act 1 and Act 2, and then they don't know how to end it. Because if they're remaking something, they know how to end it. It's been done before, right? So they've got a safe place to land. And I have to say, it's a little bit more satisfying to watch, a bit of a remake sometimes than it is to watch sometimes some stuff that's original, because I've seen 3 movies and 3 for 3. They couldn't stick the landing.
Oh, I know.
It's so frustrating.
And the other thing is too, it's like you don't have to invest so much. I mean, think about like a new Netflix show you're watching. It's like you got to get through 3 episodes before you fully commit. And that's tough business.
It is.
Yeah. I am looking forward to Lost in Space on Netflix, though. That looks like it might be good. Netflix has got the budget for it to be good. As long as the writing is good, then it could be a fun sci-fi thing. I'm starved for good sci-fi right now. Like I'm really starved for good sci-fi, and anytime someone new comes along, it's like, oh, is this going to be good? I'm on the edge of my chair, but.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust Netflix for that, though. I mean, they're getting there. I mean, I like that they take risks, but I have to admit, so far, a lot of their movies, quote unquote, definitely feel like they were rejected from Hollywood for a reason. They're kind of like, I mean, some of them, they're like, you can see there's potential there, but they don't quite make it, so we'll see. Maybe they'll get better.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Titan?
I am, yeah. I just actually watched that today.
I watched it this week. That's what I was referring to as well.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like that.
Oh, absolutely.
In the right hands and with a little bit of tweaking, that could have been really great.
Exactly.
But it wasn't quite there. So, but they're getting better. So maybe, I don't know, give them a year or 2.
Yeah, I find that their series are better. Yeah. I find that the series are better, but that's a whole other sidetrack. You can listen to the Sizzle Cafe because I go into me and Brockett went into third act problems on like 3 different movies last night on the show, and we dive into that discussion at length.
Interesting. I got to go back and listen to that. There's a few I definitely liked, and I may be in the minority here, but I enjoyed the Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix. It was an original movie based on an existing property. I liked it.
Oh, hell yeah, man. There was like time travel and like spaceships and stuff. It was great. You kidding?
It was good. That's
all you need.
Well,
had a few successes.
Here's the difference, though. That one was made by a big studio system, and they just realized at the end that, like, oh, well, there might not actually be a big enough market for this if we put it into theaters.
Right.
So it was made by the big system.
Gotcha.
So I think that's the difference.
But distributed by
Netflix. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Hey.
So when is Wallace the Brave animated coming to Netflix?
Yeah. Soon.
Oh God. Yeah,
soon. Right. Next week, because there's not enough on your plate. So there is.
Well, that's a good question though. Like when you started the comic, was this the end game that you were looking at, or did you have something completely different in mind?
Oh, it was the comic, man. Yeah, the comic strip was the end game. I just I don't know. I've always loved them, and that's what I've wanted to do. There's like nothing that like pulled me away from it. Nothing like that captivated me more than the comic strip, and that was the end game. If other things happen, that's cool, but the comic strip is what I hold dear.
Interesting. So, in addition to the syndicated comic strip, you also recently put out the book, right? Wallace the Brave.
Book?
Yeah. I know this because I ordered it.
No kidding.
Yeah, gotta have it. I didn't.
I didn't pay too much for shipping.
That's right. I actually ordered off. I ordered off Amazon. So I have Amazon Prime, and it's on sale right now. I don't know if that hurts you or dings you any, but it's like $7.99 or something.
Oh,
That's crazy. I'm like,
I literally have no idea.
I literally have. I'll wait for my checks to roll in, Brian. I have.
That's right. Just
Right. So
look down, don't ask questions.
Right. Where's the best place for them to buy it, or do you even know? Because I know they sell it directly on GoComics.com.
I got to imagine like Go Comics is the place to go. Those guys did all the legwork, and they probably lose a couple cuts if it goes through some other outlet. So head over to Go Comics. They'll set you up right.
Don't give Bezos your money. Don't give that to them. Get it as close to Will's desperate hands as you can, because
both of them outstretched.
So this was published by Go Comics?
Yeah, or they're I think they call it the AMP, which is Andrews McNeil.
Yes.
Oh God, something. But it's like their like kids section. So
okay.
I think like Phoebe and Unicorn like have that. Big Nate. They're all in that same like vein of publishing.
Okay. Because I was thinking, like, if he's got an Andrews McNeil syndication deal, then I mean, one of my favorite things about comic strips is the ultimate eventual collection by Andrews McNeil, which means you've got this great book. They all line up on the shelf really pretty. Mm-hmm. But this looks like it's a different format.
It might be. It's I honestly don't know much about it. I know it's like the same like size, but there might be something different about the layout.
Right. I'll find out and report back when I get it. And,
someone here should do their homework. It's definitely not going to be me.
I should have it. I should have it here by Saturday. That's the one good thing about Amazon. It's like I ordered it like 30 minutes ago on my phone, and it's supposed to be here Saturday. So
Saturday, nice, yeah. That does not happen in Canada, Brian.
Right. I know. Sorry.
Somebody at Amazon like, you want us to send it where?
Yeah.
Never.
See you in May.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but Saturday would not be a thing. It's more like 7 to 10 business days. Which, knowing that friends get things in like 48 hours, you're like, son of a! I really want this now.
Right.
So, it's crazy.
That is crazy. So, Will, I'm just so excited for you, and I'm glad you came on the show to share with us all the exciting news. But I don't want to forget. Where the core of you exists, and that's in that window, in that in your package store. What do you call them up there? It's a liquor store, right? We call them package stores down here.
We call them the packies too. We got we have like gourmet cheeses and all that. So I don't know what to say. Like it's like a wine and cheese shop with like all the booze you want. It's
wow.
It's like Willy Wonka's playground.
I love that. So I didn't know you had cheese. That's great.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go. I'm a big cheese fan. So I like wine, but I love cheese. So it's gotta happen. So is that something that you do yourself and run yourself still? Are you able to handle all those balls? Wow, man.
I'm trying, although my my sister and brother are around, and they kind of stepped up. They helped me down there. But it was funny. Like today, I'm sitting there, I got like my arm full of like cheap vodka stocking the shelves, and like the sales guy from Andrews McNeil calls. He's like, "Hey, I just wanted to congratulate you on your launch." I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks. I'm just stocking shelves, Doing what I do.
Am I rich yet? Can I go home and just sit and sit on the couch now? No, fine. I'll keep on working.
Well, and I think that's an important point, and I've seen that on a number of different podcasts lately that I want to kind of hammer home here, and that is like you have another job. Like it's not that syndication has just been like sweet, quit the day job, draw cartoons all the time. Like it's still a slow process. I mean, you're farther up the hill, but you still have goals to achieve, right?
Oh yeah, but. To be honest with you, like I bought this liquor store to facilitate the cartoons. Like there was no other reason to buy it. I just knew that it would give me, somewhat of a paycheck and, some free time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I guarantee there's more money in liquor than comics. I guarantee.
Yeah, man, you're not kidding.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Right. Oh, I love it. So, I was going back at from our last episode, which was like 290 something. It was sometime
296.
296. Okay.
Yep.
And do you draw like in a visible window where people can walk by and see you
Oh,
drawing.
dude. It's like the zoo. I sit on
It's
one
like
end
the
and
zoo,
people just walk by and like they tap on the glass and I'm like, oh hey.
They tap on the glass.
Oh
Hey.
yeah, man.
That is great.
You know, it's actually we had I was like, drawing one day down there and I had to run to the register and like bring some people out and like some foreign guy like sat at the table and started writing all over my comics. Started doing like mustaches on the characters
Oh my
and like drawing
gosh.
stuff in the bubbles.
What?
I couldn't believe it.
I would murder. Hey, get away, Shoo, get out of here. Do people? I know how people are, and this is the first reaction when anybody finds out I can draw me, draw my family, always. So, do you have people come by when they're walking by and they just pop in and go, "Hey, draw me"? Do you get that a lot?
I have a couple of people do that, and they're my good friends, and I usually draw something like terrible and like show it to them. Like, oh, that's you.
That's not.
But
Yeah.
I get a lot of like, oh my, so and so niece is having a birthday. Can you give me like a 10-page comic with her face in it? I'm like, sorry.
Oh man.
I'm sure you guys get a little bit of that,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I was just having this conversation with the podcast friend Tom Racine, and he was, I think he was sharing something from another artist, but I had chimed in the comments like, I'm almost 40, and I can still get called into a coffee shop meeting and be asked to work for free.
Yeah.
Like, it is remarkable that I have not publicly throat punched someone yet when that happens. Like, it's just, and my patience, I mean, I'm always pretty gracious and polite and stuff like that, but my patience for it is getting very thin.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna see Joel on the TV.
I know. Canadian man throat punches his way to
I can
prison.
feel it. They're gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna subpoena all of our podcast episodes. I do not look forward to it.
No one cares enough, I don't think. I don't think they would even make the evening news.
Oh, of course it would. Cartoonist goes crazy. That's headline news, my friend. I bet it'll go in at least a couple of newspapers, right? So
Yeah.
I gotta ask. I mean, I haven't thought about subscribing to our local newspaper in a very long time, but the fact that I was I was reading John Glenn's, I was reading his blog, and he was, there's been several comics this past year that were syndicated to 100. So I'm feeling that there's maybe a shift out there. I'm hoping of new content, and maybe I want to subscribe to a paper again. Does anybody else have that temptation or currently subscribe to a newspaper? I can't help but to feel that Matt still has some kind of subscription that he's had for 30 years.
No way.
Interesting. How about you, Joel? Do you get the newspaper so that you can line the bird's cage or something at least? Just
I have never got the paper ever since I moved out of the house when I was 18. My parents always had it, but I never bothered to buy it. I think I certainly have picked them up to read them, but I feel like I might have either been at my parents' place, like over the holidays, or if I was working in a coffee shop or something like that, I might have, because they always have daily papers around a coffee shop, and sometimes I would maybe grab them, but I can't say that I really subscribed to anything. The only paper I remember collecting on a weekly basis was like a local events free paper called The Coast here in the city, and I stopped reading that. Yeah, I think I was collecting and reading newspapers, especially the comic strips, maybe through university, but it was for the reason that I wanted to be a syndicated cartoonist. So it was more research than it was actually buying the papers for anything, right?
Right. You know what? I am going to experiment. I am going to subscribe to my local newspaper, the Index Journal. It's been around forever. Wow. We used to get the paper when I was growing up. Loved the Sunday comics. I am going to subscribe and see if it's something that I have finally aged into. The reason why I haven't done it prior to this is because I always assumed, when I get in my 30s or 40s, I'll probably start getting the paper, And then, of course, the internet came along. Here we are. Yeah, and here we are. So, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kind of like report back in occasionally and just kind of let you guys know how the newspaper is going for me. I feel like it's probably changed a lot over the years. and so I'm kind of interested. Yeah, a little bit, Brian. How about you, Will? Do you have a newspaper subscription, or will that hurt your hurt what you're trying to sell?
My mother got me a subscription.
Oh, nice.
Last year.
Right.
And it was the Wall Street Journal, which doesn't have any comics in it. So I was kind of disappointed in that. But I think I'll get a Providence Journal subscription on the business account because I'm not going to pay for it. It's too expensive.
Right. Oh, that's.
But they'll pay. The business will pay for it. That'll be.
As a kid, wasn't that always the most disappointing paper to pick up? You're picking up the Wall Street Journal. It's like, oh, a paper. Cool, comics.
Not a single one.
Not a single comic. So disappointing.
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, man, I'm telling you. So, all right. So I did pick up the book. I'll report back on that. Loving the fact that you're syndicated. Loving the fact that you're about to have your life wrecked by this new child. I can't wait to talk to you again.
I love the
year.
confidence.
Right. Oh, it's not your fault. It's just what kids do. Also, you had mentioned. I might have lost connection. So let's see how this works. So I lost connection there for a second. You guys still there?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, so what was I saying? Do you remember what I said last?
Wrecked. Will's life was wrecked.
Your life is wrecked.
Positive note.
Positive note. Wrecked, yo. All right, so now, but you also mentioned in the notes that you believe possibly might be on a panel at the Rubens this year. I'm very excited about this. What information do you have? A little bit of information?
Oh, I got a nugget, but it's all very new. I just got an email a couple of days ago, and they asked if I was available to go down there, and I think it's in Philly.
Nice.
This year.
Yeah.
Which they probably talked to me because I live in Rhode Island, which is pretty darn close. So proximity matters, people.
Will this be your first Rubens attendance?
Yeah, I actually didn't really know quite what it was until somebody emailed me about it. I had to Google it.
Right. You said the sandwich? Why would I want to go to the sandwich?
I'll be there.
Right, I'll be there. You said sandwich. So yeah, the Rubens are a very important awards for.
Yeah, can you describe them to me in your? Because I don't know much about them. I've just I know what the Wikipedia page says.
Right. Well, I've never been to the Rubens myself. However, my understanding is it is a celebration of it's the celebration of the National Cartoon Society that celebrates the cartoonist. It is kind of also a conference. If that is my understanding, Joel, do you have a better understanding of the Rubens, or has that kind of always been your outsider take on it as well?
No, and that's the thing for me. It's been the outsider thing. Is that unless you're part of the National Cartoonist Society, it's not really something that you can go to.
Right.
So
unless you're
invited, unless you're invited. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's a society event and dinner, which is different from. There's a couple of other awards too. There's the Harveys, and then there's one other set too, and I can't remember what the other one is. Eisner.
Oh yeah, the Eisner. Yep. How about you, Matt?
I never remember. One of them is akin to the Oscars.
Right. I think that's the Eisners, right? Isn't that the?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I believe you're right. I believe you're correct. We've never won any awards here on Comics Coast to Coast that were comic related. They're always podcast related. So we're not totally in the know on that kind of stuff.
You are correct, Brian. The Eisners are often compared to the Oscar awards. I'm just reading the Wikipedia page now.
Good. I didn't get it wrong. I probably didn't get it right.
Wikipedia provides.
Right? Okay, so I got one more syndication question.
Yeah, what do you got?
All right. So is there any extra steps for syndication now? Like any added process that you're having to add to what you were doing? Like, stuffing envelopes, sending off strips. What you got?
Dude, I have no idea. I literally have no idea, man. I'm just kind of every so often I'll get an email like, "Oh, can you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that, no sweat." But yeah, I did send a thank you letter to like every editor that picked up the paper because I feel like that is what the means the world to me. Just, they didn't have to do that.
That is class. That I remember that about you, and you continue to do it. It's class. Nothing but class. All right, so we're getting kind of near the end of our show here, but there was one thing that I noticed that you had mentioned. I think it might have been on Twitter. And
what do you got?
It really hit home with me. I also recently watched Justice League, and I also question what's up with the pointless butt shots,
dude,
of Wonder Woman.
I don't know about you, but like, what the fuck? I mean, I watched the. Sorry.
You're fine. Say it.
I watched the. You watch Wonder Woman. It's a pretty good movie. I thought it was done very well, and then you go to that, and it's like, you're not even trying to hide it. You're just showing butt shots.
There was
nothing to it.
It was one that was so obvious. I mean, I couldn't even think. Okay, look, I've studied filmmaking, and I kind of know some of the different go-to shots you have, different angles you use to represent certain emotions and feelings. And there was one shot that's not even in the book. It might as well be called the butt shot because it was literally I guess the audience was supposed to assume that our heads were butt height or something because it was just nothing that was everything in the foreground was nothing but Gal Gadot's butt. And I'm like, why? What was the point in that? I mean, I do know why. I know why.
We know the point, but it just...
Right.
I think a lot of it, too, is that they just weren't careful about how they did it. If you watch the film, they shoot all of the Justice League members from a low angle. All of them. Yeah. All the time. Because you're always looking up to the superheroes.
They're heroic, right.
Yeah, but the problem is that they forgot that all the guys have got capes. Yes, they're all in spandex. They've all got capes, but then Wonder Woman's outfit. And actually, what I found, are you guys talking about a specific scene where she's actually not in the Wonder Woman costume? Or are you talking about where she's in street clothes?
No. This was the scene I'm talking about. She is literally, I think Batman and Superman are on a step, and so they're like slightly above her, and then she's like supposed to be on our level. And then they go way deep, and it's more like the camera is more like knee height. It's not even
right. Yeah,
It's not a worm's eye. It's not. It's just like back of the knee height almost.
Right.
See, I'm thinking of a totally different scene.
Oh. Yeah, because the scene that stood out to me was because when she has her Wonder Woman outfit on, I found that there wasn't that many shots where they were going inappropriately low.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they didn't change that when she was in street clothes. I think she was meeting Cyborg or something, and because she's in really tight pants, you're just kind of like, well, now I'm just staring at her butt. Thank you, cameraman. Like it's really, and I didn't know whether it was the combination of the costume change and the camera angle and all of it just combined. But I noticed it right away in that scene. I don't know why.
And I think the other thing that makes it maybe so egregious is the fact that primarily Gal Gadot is generally someone who her character's been portrayed with a good bit of respect. And
yes.
Right. Yeah. And so there's not a lot of overly sexualized shots usually. However, like I said, it just felt a little gratuitous in parts to me. Also, all the way down to the costuming. I saw a really good, funny comparison, kind of meme kind of thing, and they showed the Wonder Woman Amazonians costume from the Wonder Woman movie, and then the ones from the Justice League, and it's just like, wow, that's just disturbing.
I think that's what makes it so apparent is like you see the Wonder Woman movie, and it's like done with a little bit of class, and then you see this one, it's like, well, that has been all thrown out the window.
Right. And okay, so there's not a lot of class in this movie anyway. I mean, we got Mr. Hunky Aquaman, who is the hunk of all hunks, and he's totally walking around taking his shirt off every chance he gets, which is fine because it's Aquaman, right? What else is he going to wear? Like that yellow spandex thing he's got? Yeah, that's what he does. But, yeah, a little bit overly, I don't know, a little overdone for me. But whatever. I just thought that was interesting. To me, I just wanted to talk about it for a second. So, hey, Will, thank you so much for coming in and jumping in at the last second. Man, we couldn't have done this episode without you. We could have it, but it would have been entirely, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for?
It would have been all butt. It would have been all Wonder Woman's butt. That's what he would have led with.
Butt.
And we would have been on it whole show.
I still listen.
Perfect. All right. Hey, we usually do like recommends at the end of each episode. You know, is there somebody that we're not looking at that maybe that we should be looking at out there? Any suggestions recently that's kind of hit you well?
You know, man, there is, and I actually was not prepared for this, but I've been reading Dunce comic. Have you been reading that?
Dunce comic.
Dunce.
Right.
It is awesome. It's about this like Norwegian family way up in like the Arctic Circle, but it is like beautifully done and you know, clever.
Oh, I like this. I'm looking at it now. Yes, I am not familiar with this, but I am digging it. I'm checking this out. So is this
it's cool.
Where's the best place to look at this at? Is it
I've been following on Instagram. He's pretty good with that, and I think it's like at Dunce Comic or something like that. But it's pretty good on Instagram.
Grabbing it, putting it in the old list. I'm going to start reading this right now after the show. Will, thank you so much, friend. Where's a good place for people to follow you at?
I am at Mr. Will Henry on a lot of my like social media outlets, you know, Twitter, Instagram, that kind of thing.
Yes. I'm already following you. It'll be in the show notes as well. Congratulations again on, well, I'm going to say child first, just because that's what's most important, right? Right, and then the syndication thing second. Dreams coming true. I'm very happy for you. It's fantastic. Could not happen to a classier guy.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Man. Thanks for being on the show. And we'll have you back on the show again. Maybe I would love to have you back on the show about 9 months from now when you're having your nervous breakdown. That'd be the best time for me. So
I'll call you in like 2 weeks. It'll probably be happening, guys.
Yeah.
Many diapers. The deadlines.
So many diapers. It's terrible. Joel, Duggan, where can people visit you?
I'm going to point people in two completely opposite directions. Go to thecitadelcafe.com to listen to my podcast where Brockett and I talk about really crappy third acts of movies. And go to forgepublishing.com/shop to see Piper's new print in the store. You can get it free if you pick up a book. If you already have a book, then the print is available in the store separately. And it is the cutest thing going. It's called Cherry Blossoms. So I'll let you kind of connect the dots. But check it out. It's art is front and center. She's been sharing it lately. So check that out on forgepublishing.com.
Excellent. Matt?
Best place to find my work is right on YouTube. Just do a search for my name, Matthew Ducharme, or Matt the Wad.
Excellent. You can follow me on Twitter at the Brian Dunaway. I have a website, briandunaway.com. Everything we do is on comicscoasttocoast.com. We have over 329 episodes of greatness on there. Also, previous episodes of Will Henry, the first time he was here when he was just a youngin'. Just, you know, well, like 2 years ago, maybe even less than that. And
it was more like 10 months ago.
Right, it was like 10 months ago. He was such a child then. And so that's it. Well, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/comicsc2c. That's it. We'll see you guys next week.
part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.